Welcome back to the Dragon's Lair, everybody. My name is Wade, and this is my show Let's Talk, where we talk about Warhammer 40k, specifically Tyranids. So, did you see that Games Workshop on Warhammer community page put out the Tyranid Prime with Lash Whip datasheet? Now, as far as I understand, there isn't a price out. What I mean by that is point cost out for these guys. They did say that we'll be able to pre-order them soon. I'm going to wait. So this is both my thoughts and opinions about the Tyranid Prime with Lash Whip and a little bit of rumor mill. So let's get into it. Tyranid Prime with Lash Whip. Movement 10. That's crazy because look at the bottom and see where he doesn't have wings. Historically, one of the problems with warriors has been they're not fast enough to get anywhere. They only move 6 inches. Regular warriors, warriors with ranged weapons, warriors with melee weapons, they only move 6. I have had a problem getting them to get where they're going and do the thing that they're meant to do for 3 editions now. And I've got a boatload of warriors. I got 18 warriors. I got to chop off their arms and do a bunch of mods and stuff, but I've got 18 warriors. Okay? Tough 5, pretty good. It's standard for, I think, their base size and what they perform. Save 3, it's not bad. Wound 6 for a leader, yeah, sure. Standard leadership 7. Remember, he's Synops, so you're rolling 3d6. OC1. I think that's pretty lame for being a Synops leader. But it's not the end of the world because the unit he's attached to is going to be providing the OC, so whatever. Now, this is where things start to get interesting, and this is part of the rumor mill part of this video. Check out his Rending Claw. 4 attack. Oh, sorry, so first off, he's got 3 melee weapons, which personally I think is a little lame because each fight phase you're going to have to choose which one to fight with. So I like that he's got high utility, but at the same time, give me a ranged weapon. Give me a psychic shooting attack. Give me something to do in the shooting phase. Anyways, here's part of where it gets weird, and this is where we're speculating about 11th edition. Rending Claw. 4 attacks, weapon skill +2, great. Strength 8, so it's really a strength 9. Because of being inside of Synops. And they mentioned that that remains a thing. So that right there is stronger than the monstrous... oh, sorry, we're talking about Rending Claws. That's stronger than the Rending Claws on a Norn Emissary, which is a little weird. And it does 1 more damage. So this Rending Claw on a Tyranid Prime with a Lash Whip does more damage and has a higher strength than the Rending Claw on a Norn Emissary. So I wonder if the Emissary Rending Claw is going to get stronger, which is cool if that's the case. So the monstrous Rending Claw will get stronger. Another interesting thing is Lash Whip. Lash Whip is not a weapon on its own anywhere else. So usually you see Bone Sword and Lash Whip, or Bone... There's a monstrous Bone Sword and a regular Bone Sword and Lash Whip. So that's just interesting. You know, 8 attacks, which is cool. 2+, which is cool. Strength 5 in this case. AP2, 1 damage. And then the Scything Talons is interesting. So if you compare it to the Tyranid Prime with wings, 6 attacks seems to be pretty standard for that size of a creature. Weapon skill 2, of course, it's great. It is stronger, and it has a better AP and a better damage. So the AP is 1 on the regular Scything Talon, and the damage is 1 on the regular Scything Talon. So, you know, it's not monstrous. It's not somewhere in between. It's just interesting. And I see a lot of people talking about whether that means its contemporary Scything Talons will also go up. Are Tyranids getting stronger? Is everything getting an additional toughness? I don't know. Like I said, part of this is rumor mill. So, that's interesting. I don't really like it. And the reason why I don't like it is it's got 3 melee attacks, so every fighting phase you're going to have to choose which one to attack with. I like that there's high utility. I got no shooting attack. And it just feels disjointed. I think your Scything Talons is your best choice. I mean, your middle of the road. I mean, obviously, if you're fighting a horde army or if you're into fire warriors or something really weak, you know, of course you're going to go with the Lash Whip. But I don't know. So on the other side here, it's a leader, Shadow in the Warp, Synapse. Remember, when Synapse is up in the abilities section, that means it benefits from Synapse. But when Synapse is down at the bottom, that means it gives Synapse. So I'm just helping you remember. So he's got some cool abilities. Weapons equipped by models in this unit have sustained hits 1. That has some possibilities. Here's the really interesting thing. So when you make him a leader, it gives him aggressive leader beast, which gives the whole unit aggressive leader beast. And it's the same as the Carnifexes. So basically, in your opponent's shooting phase, if they get shot at and the unit loses a model as a result, they get a surge move, which is roll a d6 and move that many inches. You can only move towards the closest. That's not an aircraft. The closest enemy unit that's not an aircraft. You can move into engagement, so it's just like the Carnifex one. But you can't do it if you're battle shocked or already within engagement range. It has potential to be super scary. And I'll show you why in a second. Because this is another thing that I like. So, keywords, infantry, character, Great Devourer, Synapse, Tyranid Prime with Lash Whip. And remember, because he's a character, you could give him an enhancement if you wanted to. Here's the other interesting part. So this is the back part of the card. One Tyranid Prime with Lash Whip. This model is equipped with one Rending Claw, one Lash Whip, one Scything Talon. Leader. This model can be attached to the following units. Hormagaunts, Termagaunts, warriors with melee weapons, warriors with ranged weapons. It can lead Hormagaunts and Termagaunts. And that is just mind-shakingly different, right? So that right there is why he has the movement of 10. Now, it creates another problem because I love Hormagaunts. But Hormagaunts move 10 and then can advance and charge for free. So this is going to slow the Hormagaunts down. You know, using the Hormagaunts, a 20 man of Hormagaunts, now he's leading them, giving them sustained hits is pretty gosh darn good. Especially because 20 Hormagaunts, if you are doing Invasion Fleet, and you hyper adapt so you get lethal hits on vehicles and monsters. That's really good at taking on knights. I've killed the bigger knights with a 20 man of Hormagaunts. It doesn't always go your way. It doesn't always work out, but it's doable and it's possible. There is nothing cooler than watching someone's knight kill 10 Hormagaunts, and then on your turn, you regenerate that unit with Invasion Fleet. For 1 CP, you regenerate 2 different units. It's so good. And, you know, 10 Hormagaunts died, but then you get back, like, the max, which I think is going to be, like, 6. So it really feels like they did almost nothing. So good. So good. You know, going with Termagaunts, giving them sustained hits 1, and then standing next to a Tervagon so they get lethal hits against everything, that's kind of a power move right there. Because for every 6 that you get an additional hit and a lethal hit, which is kind of crazy right there. I think my problem is we don't know their cost, so I don't know what to take out to put in my list. Because my list in question that we're talking about has 60 Hormagaunts and 40 Termagaunts. If I could take out my 50-point Biovore and put in 2 of them, but I don't want to lose my Biovore because I can score engage in all fronts and behind enemy lines with my Biovore. My Biovore just pumps out the secondaries. Pumps them out. And if you're not using a Biovore to pump out secondaries, you might want to think about it. It's good. It's really good. I don't know what enhancements I'd give it. Like I said, my list is pretty rock solid at the moment. I used to struggle with knights, and now I can take them on pretty good. So go ahead and comment what you think, what you're going to use them for, and thank you for spending your time with us at the Dragon's Lair.